everybody, welcome back to Cottoverdi. My name's Annette and today I've got some gardening jobs that I'd like to do and I thought I'd bring you along. So the first thing that I'd like to do is I would like to plant some strawberries into some gorgeous French wine barrels that we have. We've had them for a while and I've been meaning to use them as, large planters, and I think they're going to be the ideal spot for my strawberries because I don't want to take up the flower beds that we have at the moment with strawberries. So I'm going to put them in these wine barrels. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy up some of my hellebores and my ferns. It's a really good time as the flowers are coming out on the hellebores and as the ferns are springing into life with new little baby fronds. It's a really good time to tidy them up and cut off anything that looks dead and really mottled and not so good. And the third thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut back prune my snowberry bush. I've got a pink snowberry. I think the botanical name for them is Symphoricarpus or something like that. I'll put the name up on the screen. But my pink one is absolutely beautiful, and I find that if you cut it back really quite hard at this time of year, then actually it responds really well to that, and I get more berries, and the berries are healthier and they don't go quite so brown and mushy, and it just looks really pretty in the winter. So I'm going to do that today. This is the south facing wall of our kitchen, so it gets sun all day long. It's really nice and warm, and this is where we have temporarily put these half French wine barrels, and they're really authentic and vintagey looking. The paint's kind of peeling off the metal straps that tie them all together, and they've got like a stopper in the bottom. We have drilled holes in the very base for the drainage because the stopper was a little bit too high up and I was a bit worried about that. But in order to fill these barrels, we needed some spent compost because we didn't want to fill them with fresh compost. They're just enormous and the strawberries wouldn't need to go that deep. So we've also, in the very bottom, we've put some broken up packing polystyrene that came with some packaging, and then we've filled the bottoms with there are no crocks in there or anything. We then filled at least half of each tub with spent compost. So just compost from other tubs. I obviously checked it for vine weevil larvae and stuff like that. So it's just compost that's been used and doesn't necessarily have that many nutrients in it. And then on the top we've put fresh compost, and I'm just using our ordinary peat-free multi-purpose compost. So that's what we filled the top half of each pot with, and I think that's going to be plenty for the strawberries. And then I'm just going to plant the strawberries. Now strawberry spacing I think should be between 12 and 18 inches, so between 30 and maybe 45 centimeters. I'm going to try and get 10 plants into each pot. I'm hoping that'll be enough. If it's not, then I may put another pot on top and sort of have like a tiered strawberry situation. One of the reasons I think this might be good for the strawberries is because they'll catch a lot of sun here, but also hopefully being higher up it might keep the slugs and snails away. That's probably a ludicrous reason. That's probably not going to be the case. I may have to put some copper tape around the outside of the tubs or something like that to try and keep the slugs and snails away. So I'm just going to get planting. I'm not going to put any food in because this is fresh compost and I think it's all the strawberries will need at the moment. As soon as I start seeing flowers, then I will feed my strawberries. I've just kind of spaced them out. They probably aren't quite 30 centimeters apart. You can see some still have green leaves, some have just got little baby shoots, and some look like nothing, but that's just how they look. It's quite hard to see them, but there are 3 in the middle here, and then I've just spaced them out around the edges like that. And you're possibly wondering what all these pots are here, but these are my tulip pots, and there's signs of life. I'm not sure what this random one is here that's shooting up all on its own. Over there, it's looking even better. So the reason I like to cut off the leaves is because it just gives the flowers a chance to shine. That's also a reason why I like to have my hellebores in flower beds, in raised beds like this, because they're just at a higher level, because quite a lot of these really pretty double hellebores are the ones that dangle downwards. And I like to be able to just sort of have a look and lift them up and see how pretty they are. This is a really good time to be tidying up your fern. So you can either chop the entire fern back and it won't do it any harm at all, or if you'd still like to keep some of the greenery that's looking okay, then you can just simply snip out the bits that look a bit raggedy. Maybe they've gone a little bit brown over the winter, or they look a bit soggy. I tend to just evaluate each fern quite often though. I'll just chop the fern all the way back, being careful not to cut any of the fiddleheads, which are the new shoots. They're called fiddleheads, which I think is quite cute. They look like a fiddlehead. But yeah, it's important not to chop any of those back. So just have a look into the middle. Let's take a look at mine. These 2 ferns here are quite important. They're kind of going to be the first things that you see as you walk in the front door. So they need to not look raggedy, and I just find that, you know, they can look a little bit brown and sad at this time of year. Sometimes it's just helpful to cut the whole thing back. So I don't like it when they're looking all horrible like that. And then I have a bleeding heart here that you can see it's starting to sprout already. So I want everything to look really nice and pristine around it. If I can't see any babies, I can just cut it right back. And I mean, there are tiny little babies right at the bottom. I'm going to cut the whole thing right back. So I'm literally just going to take a handful. I mean, you could do this with shears if you wanted to, but I'm just using my secateurs. And I'm cutting right back to the nub. Hello, Cosmo. Cosmo's come to see what we're doing. So this is where all the new green shoots are coming from, this sort of crowny thing here. So I can cut everything back to there and it won't do my fern any harm at all. Now obviously if that's too drastic, then there's absolutely no need to cut it back like that. Some of these leaves could have been left on, but I decided just to take it all off. So these spots here, these sort of crowny things, this is where the new shoots will come from. So there's one here and there's one here. All of these are new shoots waiting to unfurl. So there's loads of new growth there, and it won't be long before it all comes and springs into action. This is my bleeding hearts, which is about to burst into life. And I really want to make space for it because it's quite a big plant. So I'm going to have a look at this fern over here and just see whether that needs chopping right back as well, or whether I can just tidy it up. So many spiders in these things. So I think I'm just going to do what I did last year and cut it all the way back. I can't see any new shoots yet, so I can just take clumps of it like this. So the new shoots on this fern look slightly different, and they kind of look like this. This is a new shoot, and this is another new shoot here. So, and there's, you know, one down in here. So there are lots of new shoots. I think it's a really good thing to cut them back. I've actually got a name tag here. I bet it just says fern. Oh, I have a snail too. So it just says it's a polystichum hardy fern. Not very useful. So in doing that now, by cutting back that fern and this fern over here, I've left loads of room for my bleeding hearts to come into flower. This is my snowberry bush here, and every year I cut it back really hard. So I cut it back to about there. That's possibly maybe 30 centimeters, 12 inches, something like that. That's where I cut it to. I cut it back hard, and it rebounds and rewards me with loads of berries. And in all honesty, I'm not looking for any nodes or anything like that. I'm just cutting it back. I'm kind of just grabbing a handful and cutting back. So I'm not doing anything precious with it at all. So whilst I'm here, I'm just going to tidy up, just pull out the annuals that we didn't pull out last year, and I'm going to prune this rose. So I've done all the little jobs I wanted to do. I've planted my strawberries, and I have tidied up the hellebores and the ferns, and actually I think I have some ferns at the front I need to do as well, but I can tackle those next week. And I've cut back my snowberry bush, which I think is really important in order to get the best berries this year, and I can see that it's starting to leaf out. So now's a really good time to do it. If you've got a snowberry bush, a Symphyiocarpus bush, then do prune it now, if at all possible, so that it has time to spring into life and grow to its fullest potential and produce loads of berries for you. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you have, then do give it a like, because it really helps me. And if you want to see more videos like this and you haven't already, then do subscribe to my channel, and welcome, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.